Good morning, Big Brother fans. Although I'm not going to talk too much about Big Brother, at least not about a current season of Big Brother, but I am going to talk about Survivor stuff. So it is Thursday, May 9th. It is 2:45 a.m., very early in the morning, because I am driving home from Chicago after having spent the evening at the RHAP, for Rob has a podcast, Survivor Watch Party, podcast recording, after party, thingamajigger, whatever you want to call it. It was a very cool event. I highly recommend it for anybody who ever wants to see something like this that is a Survivor fan. They did an awesome job. It was well done, well put on, very enjoyable. I would encourage those of you that want to actually hang out with the people after the show to whatever kind of, if they have an after party going, that you get tickets for that too, and you get them early because they did sell out. Yeah, I'm kind of diving right into it. So it was I mentioned it yesterday that I was going up to do this because it was the 4-year anniversary of my first sequester mini that I did with several people, including Lavina and Brandon, and Lavina is involved with the RHAP podcast, and Brandon was on Survivor 45, so he was there because as a Survivor castmate. So they were both there, and they wanted me to come so that we could meet, because this is the closest either of them have ever been to me. And so I drove up there. I bought 2 tickets last week and got my sister to go because she's a big Survivor fan and she lives in the Chicago area. So she met me there, and I just thought I would do a little recap here of everything that went on for those of you that didn't get to it. I know for a fact now that some of the people I saw tonight will actually hear this, which kind of is very cool, because I just had no idea what the odds were that anybody that listens to this would be in the area and would hear it. And it's kind of cool when somebody says, I listen to your podcast. It just I'll talk about that later, right? Yes, sure I will. So anyways, I got there, and it was at a theater that holds like 900 and I think 950 is a number I heard. 950 people, a smallish theater, kind of like a Broadway theater, but a little bit smaller, I think. I've been to a couple of Broadway shows, and those theaters are small, but this one seemed a little bit smaller. Put it this way, I was in row L, and the wall was, I think, about and maybe N or O. So that's how many rows there were. If you go from A to L, M, N, O. So about that many rows on the main floor. There was also a balcony. But it holds, like I said, 900 and some. It's very cool. The doors opened about an hour before the show started. And the show was to watch. They really watched the 90-minute broadcast that started. And then afterwards, they recorded a long podcast. And so I'll talk about that in a second. So got there, like I said, right before the gates opened. I managed to see Lavina and Brandon. They came and found me, and we talked for just very brief minutes before the show started, because they're scrambling to do stuff, and I knew I would get to talk to them later, hopefully. And so, but I got to say hi to them, and my sister and I found our seats, and eventually the show started. It's a very interesting group of people that were at this show, all ages. I certainly skewed at the older age, but there was lots of people, in their 20s and 30s, and there was even some kids. There was even teenagers and probably some preteens there too, I'm pretty sure, that were there with their parents. So it ran the gamut. It was fun. I ran into Brandon. He was out in the lots of people were talking in the lobby. There was lots of people from various seasons of Survivor there that were involved in the panel afterwards. Most of them I didn't know because I frankly haven't watched much Survivor. My sister could tell me, oh, that person's from this person from this. So she was seeing lots of people. There was also people from the current season there who I saw. I don't think I talked to any of them. I very much was what am I going to say? What am I going to walk up to these people and say, hey, I'm a fan, I like you? I did that with the Big Brother people that were there, and they probably were just like, oh, here's another person. It's just like, what do I say? I had this happen to me as I go down a rabbit hole. I had this happen to me a few weeks ago during the NCAA basketball season, so I'll be somewhat vague about it, but those of you that know. But I'm at work, and I get on an elevator, and on the elevator is a very tall individual who happens to be a Division I college basketball player for the team that I root for, and it was just him and me, and I just was stupidly tongue-tied. Why should I be stupidly tongue-tied? I just was. I just kind of looked at him and was like, yep, well, here you are, here I am, and I said, I really appreciate, really enjoy your watching you play and all this kind of stuff. I said nice things. He was totally gracious with me, but it's just kind of funny how I just didn't have anything constructive to say with him, and I had some moments like that tonight later in the evening when I talk to some Big Brother people. I just don't have anything to say. I really enjoyed watching it, which I'm sure some of them, they enjoy just hearing that, or that's what they hear. I don't make fun of or tease or sorry, I'm going over a rumble strip while I'm driving through construction. So anyways, there was lots of people lots of people were just out talking to people. I saw Brandon. He was talking to someone. I waited for him to have a free moment. He made eye contact with me, and he knew I was there. And so he came over and gave me a big hug, and we talked for a few minutes. But while we were talking, and I would have monopolized the time, and I didn't want to do that, but I saw some young kids came up, and you could just see the look in their eyes like, that's Brandon. Because those of you that don't watch Survivor, he was on last season. Again, I played Sequester with him, but he was on last season. He had a rough season. He did not perform to the best of his ability. And I was so fired up and excited to watch him, and I felt I was crushed when the game didn't go as well as I'm sure he would have liked. But he won the hearts of people, of some people, and obviously he's well liked. And so these kids were coming up, and I could just see how Star Trek they were, and he was just so cool with them. And everybody, I'm telling you, every single cast member of Survivor that I saw interacting with people there was awesome. Every single Big Brother person I saw they were awesome. I grabbed Rob Sestranos. He was walking by, and he doesn't know me from Adam. He follows me on Twitter, but he doesn't know me. I mean, it's just what it is. But I kind of called out to him, and I just introduced myself briefly, and he was courteous and shook my hand and said hi. And you know what? That's cool too. So it was a really cool event, and I would tell anybody that's interested in seeing something like that, if it comes to your area, you should check it out. Well worth the price of admission. I would say see it now before it really blows up, because I think what they've got there is a pretty cool thing. This was their biggest ever event, they said, of over 900 people, but it was still small enough that you didn't feel like it's not thousands, So yeah, really cool. So anyways, I got to say hi to Brandon, got to say hi to Lavina very briefly while she was walking around, and then they went backstage to do their stuff. And then the show started. They had the TV show, and during commercial breaks, some of the people from the RHAP podcast, different ones, would come out and talk during the commercials. They were kind of keeping an eye on the screen to see when the show was coming back on. But it was done very well, done very professionally. Very few hiccups. I don't know there was probably more hiccups than anyone was aware of, but it was done so well that I couldn't have told you there were any hiccups. It just went off. It went off splendidly. Everybody involved with that production should get a pat on the back, because they did a great job. And after watching the show, and watching that in a theater with 900 people all reacting was kind of cool. It just brings it to a whole nother level when everyone's like going laughing or oohing or eyeing or applauding. You could tell who people liked and didn't like. Based on when they had the opening credits, you saw the names. There was people that would get a lot of applause and people that wouldn't get so much applause. So, just very cool. And afterwards, again, they had several different panels come up, anywhere from 15 to 20, 25 minutes maybe, that they would talk with. Rob would be the host, and then various Survivor people would come up. There was someone there from Survivor Australia. I can't tell you her name. My sister knew her. And yeah, that was the one. They had the entire tribe from everybody except for, I can't think of her name now. All but one person from Brandon's tribe from Survivor 45 was there, and they hung out, and they hung out on the stage and talked with Rob for a while. And then the very last group, so they went through about 4 different groups of Survivor people. It was quite a while, quite a bit of talking about Survivor. And again, being that I'm not a huge Survivor fan, I will offer an opinion on one thing here. So being as I'm not a fan, I'm not into Survivor anymore. Now, I have enjoyed this season now that I've watched it. But for those of you that are big Survivor fans, I kind of wish they'd had an opportunity for the fans to ask a question, but, what are you going to do? That's what everybody would like. And why in the world would I have been the one to decide to chime in? But it's because I used to do a podcast, and I like that my opinion is valuable in my own little mind. So one thing I said to my sister as we watched last night's episode, and this is a tiny spoiler, but I'm not saying names or anything. So, and to be honest, it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, but they've had lots of idols found, but nobody's played an idol, right? That I remember. There was a fake idol played, I think, at the very beginning, but no one's played an idol to save themselves that I recall. Or if someone did, they didn't need to play it. But the point is, people have left the game this season with an idol in their pocket when they should have played it, and they haven't played it. And it just really, to me, feels like this they call it the new, I don't know, the new season, the new edition. I don't know what they're calling it. They're calling it the new, this is the new version of Survivor, because they've shortened it to shorter days, or to less days. And so in 3 tribes, sorry, I've been talking too much now, my throat's starting to tickle. And they, sorry, losing my train of thought, and it is almost 3 a.m. So they've shortened it to less days, 3 tribes. So it is just kind of a newer style of a Survivor, not Big Brother. And it really feels, and they talked about this tonight on the podcast, that everybody is all concerned about their story, their game. It's really, really getting analytical. The people that are playing it now seem to be almost all super fans, all super hardcore fans. And as a matter of fact, Cleo the Leo, who I follow and I know on Twitter, talking about Big Brother, just said, I think yesterday, whatever it was, that she wouldn't mind a season of recruits as opposed to a season of super fans. And you know what? She's not wrong, because super fans almost overanalyze stuff, and recruits just kind of wing it and figure it out as they go along. And there's something entertaining to watch someone figure out the game as they go along. Some will get it horribly wrong, and some will play it really well and win probably. And so, it's like, that wouldn't be bad. I was like, yeah, that wouldn't be bad. I wouldn't mind that. There would be a bit of a train wreck aspect to it, because some people would just play so badly, but other people would really climb. And it also means someone could really dominate, because, they could figure it out quick and do well. But you know what? I think I'd be okay with that. So that being said, Survivor, all of these people are super fans, it seems. They all know the game inside and out. They all know the previous seasons. They all know who did what. I mean, all of these guys are up on the stage with Rob just analyzing it to a T. And I'm like, wow, you guys all know too much about Survivor. You're worried about your story. It seems like now that, and it was mentioned earlier this season by one of the castmates on the show, said, one of the things you have to do is vote out your number one. And it's like, really, you have to do that? That's what and apparently in order to win the votes to win at the end, you should have probably voted out your number one at some point along the way. So you have to backstab your closest ally along the way in order to be considered a true hardcore player. You need to do this, you need to do that. It's like, I do you really? Or is it just that's the formula to think to win, but maybe somebody should figure out how to win without following that kind of formula. But one of the other things is, if you win an idol, if you play an idol, at this point, it seems like you put a target on your back. So it's almost like now the goal is win the idol so nobody else has it to play it. But you don't play it yourself. Hold on to it as long as you possibly can. And again, several people have gone home this season with the idol in their pockets. And I was saying to my sister last night, watch this, that, this isn't going to get played tonight. The person isn't going to play it. Whether they go home or not wasn't the point. They had the opportunity to play it, and they didn't play it. And so I just think that I don't know if an idol is going to be played this year successfully. I just don't know. So that's just an interesting thing to ponder. And I would have said that if I was up on stage talking with Rob. And they talked about it a little bit. After I had said something to my sister about it, they ended up bringing it up on the stage too. So I'm obviously not the only one thinking that. It's not some earth-shattering thoughts. But anyways, it was very cool, the panels. The very last panel they brought out of people were all Big Brother contestants, former Big Brother contestants. That was cool. It's like, oh, and I had seen some of them. So again, they were all around hanging out in the lobby and stuff. And during one of the commercial breaks, I ran out to the lobby to use the restroom, and when I came out, there was Corey in America talking with some fans, and I did the kind of hovered and waited for them to finish talking, and then just kind of just real briefly and said, hey guys, just want to say hi, I am Baby Gossip, blah blah, and America was like, oh yeah, Baby Gossip, yeah. So okay, well, I don't know if you know him. She said, no, live feeds, we're fans. I'm like, okay, maybe you are, I don't know, that's cool. But they were going, man, and I did not want to hold them up. So I just want to say hi. And I was hopeful that later on in the night I'd have a chance to talk a little bit more with them. But again, I just really did not want to intrude on they're swarmed constantly, right? So I just kind of wanted to be one of those people that just barely just touched and said, hey, you're cool, I like you, bye. And so they were going back in. I went back in and watched the rest. That was during the thing. And then all the panels. Well, they brought all the Big Brother people that were there out on stage to talk at the end about their interpretation, their thoughts on Survivor. So at the show tonight were it was Jag, Corey, America, and Izzy from last season. They were all there. All again extremely nice when I talked to all of them later. Just they were all excellent, just perfect, just exactly what you'd expect. They know how to play. They've done well, and if they weren't being genuine, they sure seemed like it. And so that's all you can ask for, right? You never felt like you were intruding. You never felt like they were so tired of glad handing people and everything. They did a great job. And then Jessica from Big Brother 21, who follows me, and she's from the Chicago area. She's one of those people that follows me, so I'm always like, oh, I like Jessica because she follows me. And so she was there, and then Andy was there. And I have interacted with Andy a few times online and stuff, and so I was kind of excited to get a chance to, possibly see and talk with all of these people. And I did. Later on in the night, I managed to talk to every one of them very briefly. I got pictures with everybody except for Jessica. It's like, damn it, I actually sat down and talked with Jessica for a little bit, and her husband I talked to even more. So it was like, geez, I walked out, I was like, crap, I forgot to get a picture with Jessica. So I'll have to hopefully get one sometime down the road. I don't know. We'll see. Again, all of those people were really, really nice. So they finished out the panels. That was the end of the show. Everybody got up and left and walked out. There was a big crowd of people talking outside the theater. As I said, there was an after party, which was a very limited amount of people. It was because the venue had a limited people that could go to it at a bar. Which stunk because some people couldn't go, and I didn't have a wristband to get in. And we knew that when I was coming up, because I didn't know I was coming up until way late, and it was already sold out, and there was like 100 people on the wait list. So I was like, I don't think I'm going to make it in. But no, man, I was going there to see people that were involved in the show. So I was hopeful that either somebody could get me in, but I wasn't. I don't know. It's kind of one of those, I didn't want to seem entitled, but at the same time, I was friends with these people. So I didn't care if I got in or not, if I got to talk with my friends. So I found out where the after party, they told me where the after party was, and so they thought maybe we can get you in. So I walked to the after party, half a mile or so from the actual venue, but I just left my car parked by the theater. Walked down there. Beautiful night in Chicago, by the way. Awesome. It's 70 degrees right now as I'm still driving home. And got to the venue, and sure enough, there was 2 guys at the door, and you were not getting in that door unless you had a wristband. That was the rule. And they were not mean. They were just, that was the orders they were given. And so, or if you were a cast member, like a Survivor member, because Brandon didn't have a wristband, but he got in because he was on Survivor. That's who the people were there for. But I ended up, you could talk outside the venue. So I ended up talking, and Lavina came out and she talked to me, and we talked for like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. She was so gracious, talking with me, catching up, and lo and behold, out of the blue, someone tapped me on the shoulder and basically had an extra wristband they gave me. And it turns out that person's name, Angela, who heard my podcast on Wednesday and was looking for me. She didn't know what I looked like. She found Brandon, who she knew, and she said, "Where's Mike? What does he look like?" And Brandon found her, and she got me in. So I tweeted out a picture with her. It was just so cool. It was like, oh my gosh, here's someone who knows me and listens to my podcast. That was awesome. And there were several people I met tonight who also said they knew my podcast and they listened to my podcast. So that was very cool. To those of you that are listening now, that were there tonight, that talked to me, that is so cool. Thank you very much. If there was anyone who was there and didn't say hi and knew who I was, then why didn't you say hi? Because the coolest thing in the world was when people said, "I know who you are," and really meant it. And it wasn't just, and as it turns out, I in the later in the evening, I did catch up to get pictures with these people. I talked with Corey in America again, and as soon as I walked in the general direction, America said, "Yeah, VP gossips," and so either she has a awesome memory, which a lot of Big Brother people do, or she actually knew who I was. She knew the account, and it wasn't just BS when she was nice BS that she was saying. But they were very nice. That's when I got a picture of them. I got a picture with Jag. I got a picture with Izzy. Like I said, I didn't get a picture with Jessica, and I sat down and talked with them for a while. So I'm just kind of. That was part of the problem, is because I sat down and talked with them instead of just walking up, because they were sitting at a table just having conversations with people. So anyways, it was very cool. And on top of that, besides meeting Brandon and Lavina, as I'm back in the theater before I left, I'm standing in the lobby kind of waiting for some people to walk by, and I'm there. My sister took off because she needed to go home. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, is walking someone towards me, and I'm like, okay, that person looks really familiar. And I'm going like, you were on Sequester, weren't you? And she's going, Mike. And I'm like going, and she's Ashley. I was like, Ashley, yes, I remembered her. We played, I didn't remember we played in the Friends mini, because frankly, I don't remember who I played in the Friends mini with, other than like Lavina and her sister, I think, and a couple of other 5/8 mini people. That was kind of a mix of people on it. But she was there. There was several, and I cannot name everybody's names. There were several other people there from the world of Sequester, and it was so cool to see all these people, to see their faces, and to know them. And I looked at me. I was like, "You were on Sequester, weren't you?" And Jordan, I don't know if you listen to my podcast or not now. You said you used to listen to stuff, and you know who I was. So if you hear this, Jordan, we've interacted, I think, online. I'm pretty darn sure. I don't know if we played a Sequester or not together, but I think we've interacted on Twitter, or maybe even Blue Sky. So anyways, as I get to individual little messages in the middle of my CarCast, it was so cool. It was such a cool night. I haven't done anything like this don't remember the last time I did something like this where I went out and met people. I do. I said what it was. When was it? It may have been back in the day. I mean, there was the days when I went to New York and met people involved with the Opie and Anthony show. Would be the closest thing. I met a bunch of fans and stuff, and people that knew me because I called into the show, and Ron and Fez. Kind of like that. It's the same kind of vibe. Those were cool people there too, as far as just friendly fans, just people. Everybody was good. It was a very cool night. And I really didn't want to leave, but I mean, it's getting late. I mean, it was getting really late, and I'm trying to go to work later in the day tomorrow. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to touch on. I just want to say it was really cool, really awesome. Thank you to everyone I talked to. Thank you to those of you that said you listened to my stuff. Thank you to Angela for getting me in, and Brandon and Lavina. They don't listen to this stuff, but thank you to them. Just because, and thank you for Rob Has a Podcast. I don't listen to Rob Has a Podcast as a rule. I just don't, and it's not there's anything wrong with it. It's just I am so opinionated that listening to someone else spout their opinions just drives me crazy, because whether I agree with them or not, I don't need to, they're telling me how it is, and it's kind of like, no, I know how it is, and I have my thoughts. That's why I was never. It's like I just want to do my own podcast, which is why I'm talking to you now, right? But they were really good. It was really cool to see all these people, to see all this. And again, I'm telling you, I think they're going to do more of these kind of things. And I would tell you, if they come to your area, go check it out. Also, I will even say this: I know Rob has a patron club thing. They have special things for patrons. They talked about that they had special things for patrons that happened outside of the last night or tonight's show, for those that were able to make it and stuff. So, if you weren't a patron before and you want to be one, you should check out Rob's patron thing, because you'll get extra stuff. And that's another way to support them. And yeah, that was cool. Am I done? I think I'm about done. My throat's really dry. I'm about 15 minutes from home. And I'm kind of worn out. So thanks for listening to all of this. I have no new Big Brother news. I didn't pick up anything in the at the show tonight. Just cool stuff. Yep. All right, that's it. I'm gonna sign off. I probably will upload this. For those of you, obviously, I'm not going to upload it tonight. I'll probably upload it tomorrow morning rather than tonight. So, again, those of you that I saw tonight, thank you for saying hi. It's very cool to meet everybody. And I hope to meet some of you again, and I hope to meet others of you at the next thing that I show up at, which I'm working on figuring out what the next thing I might show up at as. But I'll tell you what, if they come back to Chicago again, I will probably go to that again, because that was worth it. It was worth it. As long as, you know what? Even if Brandon and Lavina don't show up, I might go to it, just because now there's other people there that I could say hi to, because I know now people that I know would be there. That was the thing that stunk, was I felt like I was breaking away from people, ending conversations that I really didn't want to end, but I also, Izzy was leaving at one point. I thought she was leaving. She was actually going outside, but I didn't want to take a chance of missing her, so I kind of cut a conversation short so I could go get a picture with Izzy. Those kind of things were going on. It's like, I don't want to miss this, so I'm sorry, I got to go. And, everyone was great, but yeah. All right, now I'm done talking. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a good evening. How long was this? Ooh, 29 minutes. All right. Enjoy. Hope you had a good time. Hope you enjoyed listening. And if you have any questions about thoughts of whatever, by all means, tweet at me or email me at ilovereality@gmail.com or whatever. And I'll be happy to answer you with my thoughts or with my perceptions. Any of that good stuff. Okay? All right, everybody. Take care. Bye.